I'm Cecilia Manella, and I hop on here every single week to share some quick tips and tricks around improving mental health. Now, today I want to talk about just kind of what I'm noticing around us and challenging you to change one small thing about how you're thinking about the world. Now, there's a lot of divisiveness around us. So being divided into two different camps or two different extremes or black and white thinking, however you want to frame it, there's a lot of divisiveness. And the foundation of divisiveness is either or. So you're either this or you're that. There's typically two options. This is kind of why we call it black and white thinking, because it's either black or it's white. It's really extreme. It's really polarized on two opposite ends of the spectrum. And there isn't a lot of conversation about all that happens in the middle. So divided mentality can be really, really difficult in many ways. But the one thing that it gives us that is very alluring is this idea that we've got it figured out, that it has to be only these two ways, and that's really the only answer. And when we only have two answers, it actually feels like we have a little bit more control about what's happening. So we love this idea of you're either this or you're that. So you're either a man or you're a woman. You're either a coffee drinker or you're a tea drinker. You're either pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine. So it's just an either or thinking. Now I'm challenging you to open that up quite a bit and to take an approach that will take down divisiveness and allow space for conversation. And that change is really about the word and. So it's this and that. So it can be this and that. So I can like coffee and I can like tea. There are different ways of being, and this allows you to sit in the space of continuum. So I can be afraid and I can also be brave. So it is holding space for two things that feel like they might be opposites and hold them as both as true and both as valid. Now, the human experience is really complex, and it's really alluring to think that there's only two options of something and that we're in different camps. But the truth is that there are way more than two options, and that the human experience is rich and it's full of color and it's full of different stories and different characters and different experiences that we have. And by holding the space of this and that allows us to provide complexity to our experiences and stop trying to minimize them and make them seem so simple, because life isn't simple. Because if things were super simple, we would not be divided on things. So just the fact that we're divided means that things are actually a lot more complex than we're giving it credit for. And although the divided thinking that it's either this or it's that provides a little bit of security for you and a little bit of reassurance that you've got it figured out, the truth is that that's just not how it works. And so it can lead to more anxiety. It can lead to more anger and frustration and depression and worry thoughts and all those things. Whereas if you hold space for this and that, it allows us to ask a lot of questions. It allows us to have rich conversations with people in our lives or people around us around what their experience actually has been. And it decreases anxiety. It decreases worry. When we can hold space for two things to be true at once, if not four things to be true at once, then it allows us to see the complexity of something and let go of that anger and frustration and anxiety and concern and worry. It brings us closer to other people, closer to relationships. And in fact, it will enrich your thinking. And in that, there's freedom. So I want you to not be allured into the false sense or the illusion of the knowing, the illusion that there's only two options and that one must be true and therefore the other one must be wrong. And I want you to walk into a space of maybe all the options are actually true and maybe all of them can be true. And we can hold space for these things and have conversations for them. And that is true for you. So how you think about things, how you talk to yourself is really, really important. And I encourage you to add the word and. This and that. These two things can be true at once. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you have a fantastic day and the rest of the week. And I'll see you next week.